So I just want to thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Cheryl Petty. Whether I invited you or whether one of the other people that is on this call invited you, we're glad you're here to learn about what we want to share tonight. Kind of what we're going to do is we're going to have a couple testimonies, one after myself, which will be from Petra, and she's going to give her journey. And then after Petra shares, then Rachel will give you some information, more statistical, more informational. And then after Rachel shares, then we're going to have another testimony as well, as to different people's journeys as to how this has worked for them and what it has done. For myself, I had struggled with some anxiety, some tiredness, some gut issues, just an array of things. I mean, I was pretty sick there for a while. And so once I started doing what I'm doing now, I was able to alleviate most of those. So I'm super excited that you guys are here to learn. So Petra, do you want to go ahead and share? And then, at the end, we're going to have question and answer. So you guys can feel free to ask your questions at that time.
We can't hear you at all, Petra. I muted you. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yes, so I don't know everybody that's on here, but just in case you don't know anything of my journey, I was diagnosed 2 years and 1 month ago, to the surprise of pretty much everybody that knows me, most of all myself, that I was oh, okay. I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer, and I was the person that would always, I was so passionate about health from my early. Oh, okay.
Sorry, Petra. I thought you were joining with another device. We'll have you restart. You're muted right now, but just unmute one of your devices because you joined with 2 devices.
Somebody else is trying to get in, I think, too.
Okay, I will check.
Here we go. Sorry about this. Okay, here we go. So yeah, so I was diagnosed with stage 2 cancer, and I was the one who would always be really passionate about health. We were plant-based vegetarian, 100% plant-based for 30 years already, and always trying to do exercise. I enjoyed doing conducting health classes together with Cheryl. We've done that for many years, and I thought, with lifestyle, living really healthily, there's not much of a chance that I would get cancer, or if anybody that lives like that. So when I was diagnosed, it was a real shock to my system, and I was trying to find out how this happened and why this happened, because I believe everything really happens for a reason. And found out that the part of Kalamazoo where we lived had toxins in the groundwater, and we were living off well water that only had a little fridge filter on it, and that's about it. So and I learned what toxins can do, which was quite an eye-opener, because there's so many more toxins in our environment than even 50 years ago. And that was a real eye-opener for me. Those are the things that nobody gets away with. It doesn't matter what your lifestyle. Still, I had to sign up for all the treatments, and I did a whole year's worth of treatment, including, of course, surgery, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and all that. However, I had a good doctor friend tell me of this supplement, and he didn't even explain too much, because I wasn't quite in the frame of mind to take a lot of information in at that point. And he says, well, just take it and it will do you good for whatever you decide to do for your treatments. And so I started, I trusted him because he is somebody who really knows what he's talking about, especially in regards to wellness and from a natural point of view. So I started taking these supplements called Protandim that we're talking about today. And as I, recovered from surgery and was going into chemotherapy, I have a wonderful oncologist who allowed me to take the supplement because I wasn't confident enough to just go ahead and do it without the consent of my doctor. Which today I have that confidence. If I would be in the same place again, there would be, I wouldn't even go and ask any doctors because I think he must be the only oncologist in the whole of Michigan that has his eyes open to, the benefits of supplements as well while you go through chemo. Well, I have to say I was really scared going into chemotherapy. You hear all these horror stories. And I thought, oh boy, now the wild ride of 4.5 months will begin. And I had my first 3-hour infusion and nothing much happened. I mean, I started to not feel that great. My stomach was unsettled. I had some nausea, but it wasn't so terrible. I was waiting for this diarrhea that I was supposed to have, and it never happened. I was also taking their probiotics, which helped me tremendously. And then, I started feeling toxic. I mean, I had quite a few of the symptoms. Of course, I lost all my hair. That's why my hair is short today. I was waiting for this fatigue to hit me, but it didn't. And so I would go back every week. They would check on me every week. And this chemo nurse would ask me, so how is it going with the fatigue? And I said, don't have any fatigue. I don't have fatigue. I can keep working. And I was working pretty much full time and never had one day where I had to lie down and take a little nap all the way through 4.5 months of chemotherapy, which to me was wonderful because when I could keep going and just keeping active, I didn't need to sit down and actually listen to my body and feel how pretty awful I was feeling. But it wasn't feeling that terrible that I had to just put my feet up and take a break. So for me, that was a huge answer to prayer. I know there were a lot of people praying for me too. I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. So then after I was done with chemotherapy, I started this radiation therapy. And I was really worried about that for various reasons. And however, when I started, my oncologist was surprised. Let's just cut the long story short, that I didn't burn. He said you should have blisters. Most people, the skin breaks and whatever. They, nothing of the sort happened. I would get a little pink now and again, but I breezed through the chemotherapy. I think I had to nap for half an hour, 2 days. That was it. And so other than that, I really didn't feel that there was anything going on, going through going through the radiation. So I was very, very pleased with that. And after that was done, they wanted me to sign up for 10 years of hormone suppressant therapy. And I said, you know what? I've done everything you told me to do for a whole year, and I'm done here. I'm going to check out. 10 years sounds like a life sentence. I'm not doing that. And I said, let me find out whether I'm not taking something already that might be filling in that gap that you're trying to fill with these drugs. And I started studying about Protandim, and lo and behold, I find out that it helps with chemotherapy not to have so many side effects and to actually enhance the effect on the tumors and sensitizes, weakens them more, but makes you feel less tired and less side effects, and it protects against radiation damage, at least the healthy cells, whereas it still sensitizes or weakens the tumor cells. So it's a win-win all around. And I was benefiting from that all the while without even realizing where my blessings were coming from. And I'm just praising God and thanking my friend who recommended it, because it was a wonderful support to me, and it's helped me bounce back. It very quickly. I mean, I I feel better today than I did even before I was diagnosed, because now my digestion is just doing so much better even than before. So yeah, so that's my story. I feel confident. I mean, I had a scare. They were seeing some enlarged lymph nodes by my lungs 2 months ago, and they said, "Oh, it's metastasized to your lungs. Bad news. We have to do a biopsy." And I said, you know, I have a lot of people praying for me, and I'm on a good supplement that people that have had end-stage cancer had already such amazing results from that. I don't think it's cancer what you're seeing there. And they said, well, we'll have to do a biopsy, but we're pretty sure. And 3 doctors were in agreement that they think it's cancer. Well, I let them do the biopsy, which took me 2 months to agree to, and find out not a single cancer cell was present. It was just a bit of inflammation. So praise God, I'm in a good place, and I'm super grateful that there are these natural products out there that can support us in a way that I never thought quite possible, really.
Thank you so much, Petra.
Oh yes, I'm introducing Rachel. I am sorry. Yes, next we're having Rachel give us a wonderful rundown as to the kind of cellular mechanics of how this Protandim actually works. And Rachel is a nurse for a number of years already. She has a 2-year-old. She's gonna have her second baby in 1 month, or
Yeah,
a little less than that.
about a month.
And we're all excited for her for that. And she has her own story of feeling so much better in this time around with her pregnancy. But she's gonna give you the explanations of a little scratching the surface of how the supplement really works in our bodies and why it is doing so much good.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. It's truly a blessing to share our stories and help people. And that's why I started learning about this information, because I really, really like helping people. And Petra and our family have been friends for a long time, but we connected even more recently, and it's been fun to get to know each other and to share. But anyway, my name is Rachel, and I live in upstate New York, so kind of near Niagara Falls, that area. And I grew up in Michigan. Like Petra already says, I have a 2-year-old, and I have 1 baby on the way, coming pretty soon here. After I had my son Jonathan, I had some postpartum depression, some gut issues that most likely were an irritable bowel, but it wasn't really diagnosed, as well as just feeling overwhelmed as a mom, and some chronic back issues that I've had all my life. So pain, gut, mental health, etc. My friend introduced me. I might have a little interruption here. Okay, just a minute here. Most important thing. So my friend introduced me to this. She said it might help with your postpartum depression and your gut health, and I was willing to try it. And basically, what we're talking about today is a couple different products that address the 3 theories of aging developed by doctors and scientists. About 30 peer-reviewed studies. A peer-reviewed study means that it's been reviewed by universities and doctors. Peer review is a quite extensive research, and if you want to see those peer-reviewed studies, the website is pubmed.gov, and maybe Petra, you can put that in the chat so people can write it down. Pubmed.gov. But basically, when I saw the studies, being a nurse, I want to see research behind things. And then when I started using it, after about 2 months, I noticed my back pain was better. I noticed that my inflammation in my back had decreased. Nothing else had ever worked. And I noticed that I was starting to feel less anxious, able to handle stress better, not quite so depressed in general, and as well as my gut health improved. So that's just 3 things for me. And I know with this second pregnancy, my weight is better, my overall health is better, and I feel amazing. So I'm gonna share my screen with you and talk about these 3 theories of aging and how getting to our cellular level can affect these 3 theories of aging. So the first theory, how many of you guys have ever heard of oxidative stress? Most of you might not have heard of it. Hang on a second. My screen is not letting me. Okay. Most of you may not have heard of it. But Renee says she's heard of it. Basically, have you heard of antioxidants or free radicals in our body? Antioxidants are things that we eat. Free radicals are things that, like you can see here from the environment, smoking, air pollutants, water, unhealthy foods, too much exercise, toxins, etc. Like Shara or like Petra was sharing about how in Kalamazoo there was some toxins in the environment, and those were the free radicals. So free radicals lead to oxidative stress or rusting of our cells, and that leads to different inflammation in our body. Did you know that you produce 300 sextillion free radicals every day, even when you're healthy? I did not know that. But if you just eat blueberries, raspberries, acai berries, antioxidants, oranges, vitamin C, you're only going to be addressing a very small portion of those free radicals because they only work on a 1-to-1 ratio. And see here. Okay, so this theory of aging, the oxidative stress theory of aging, is that as free radicals build up in our body, they lead to aging. They lead to all these different diseases. Over 200 diseases are linked to oxidative stress. So we can't just eat blueberries and vitamin C. We can, but that's not going to get rid of 300 sextillion free radicals. This product that we mentioned, Petra mentioned, is called Protandim NRF2. What it does is it lowers that oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. It uses this messenger protein called NRF2. It activates that. That's something in our body that we all have. This combination of herbs has been proven to activate this pathway, and then it increases these 3 enzymes here, SOD, catalase, and glutathione. Antioxidants, these 3 antioxidants. So remember I said you could eat antioxidants, but you also have 3 antioxidants already in your cells, already doing the job. And what we're doing is triggering them and increasing them to work much more effectively. One molecule or one of these SOD antioxidants, when you activate it, it is now able to eliminate 1 million free radicals per second. Yep, we got a little 2-year-old here. But isn't that amazing that now you can eliminate much more free radicals versus just eating the blueberries, etc. Now, it's also the only supplement shown to extend life in male mice by the National Institute of Aging. Why this is key is because this has not been out long enough to show that it extends life in humans, but if there's something out there that can even remotely improve my lifespan, extend my lifespan by getting rid of those extra oxidative stress and free radicals, I want to use it. And that if that study is extrapolated to human years, I think it's about 7 years more in human life. But yeah, so we talked about the first theory of aging, which is increased oxidative stress. We're going to talk about 2 other things. Hang on 1 second. Jonathan, bring it to mommy and I'll fix it. Sorry. Hang on 1 second. Let me just fix this emergency here.
If I may just fill in while Rachel is putting out a fire, one thing that was an eye-opener to me is that these antioxidant enzymes, they're actually enzymes that the body gets triggered to produce under the influence of those 5 herbs in that blend of the supplement. That these enzymes that our cells will begin to produce again to the level than when we were children, they are much more powerful than the antioxidants that we would take in through food. Not that they're not helpful, we shouldn't worry about food, but it's a much more effective and powerful way to eliminate the free radical damage. That's one thing that I didn't realize until this information was presented to me as well.
Thank you so much, Petra. And you guys can see here from this graph that without this combination of herbs or this protandem NRF2, our oxidative stress increases as we age. Plus, we have lots of it every day, but we can keep it at this level of, some people say a newborn baby, I say a 20-year-old. There's been different lab results done that if you haven't seen the ABC Prime Time, ask whoever invited you, and they talk about how their oxidative stress was reduced, and it's quite informative. I really like that, within 2.5 weeks. So these are all the different web, as I said, you can go to PubMed and review the studies that were done on protandem, as well as here are some of the universities that you may be familiar with. Obviously, Harvard, American Heart, some of the other ones in here. And there were 7 patents done on protandem, as well as different news shows that featured it. This NRF2 activation is becoming a buzzword in the medical circles. If you haven't heard of it, doesn't mean that it's not very powerful. It's called the most extraordinary and therapeutic breakthrough in the history of medicine by Washington State. So that study is very informative about how NRF2, when it's activated, can be super, super beneficial to our bodies. As I said, we're talking about 3 theories of aging. And the second theory is that as we age, our mitochondria decline. So when they decline, they have, as we're about 80 years old, our mitochondria are now working at about 5%, versus 20-year-olds are more like 100% or so. Mitochondria, if you aren't familiar with that, is something that we all have. They're like the little factories in all of our cells. They produce ATP. And I noticed when I started using this that I had improved sleep quality, just like it says here, and improved energy throughout my day. Even though I'm only 28 years old, I've always needed extra sleep, and I sleep an average of 1 to 2 hours less a night after using this. And I know that my cells are a lot more efficient and effective to produce energy. Also, if you look up, a lot of different conditions are linked. We don't claim to prevent, cure, or treat disease, but if you have poor mitochondrial health, it does link to a lot of diseases and conditions. So it's helpful to be able to improve our mitochondrial health. And you can also look on PubMed and say mitochondrial dysfunction and cancer, for example, or mitochondrial dysfunction, and I think I was looking it up with MS the other day. So all these are plant-based natural ingredients studied by doctors and put into this combination. The last theory of aging is that as we age, our NAD declines. So NAD is like the mom molecule. It supports our genetic health. 90% of our genes are affected by our environment. Just like Petra was saying, you can be super healthy, but then you might have an environmental factor, toxin, that affects your cellular or your genetic health. And like our genes, the more NAD we have, the more we're able to protect our genes. And just taking this NAD synergizer. It does not have NAD in the actual bottle, but it triggers our body to produce more NAD so that our NAD increases by 100% within 24 hours. So this one's very fast working. You may not feel the effects right away. So I'm not going to go into all the details about NAD, but if you look up what does NAD do in your body, a lot of crazy things. This one helped me a lot with mood and concentration as a nurse, sometimes working 12-hour shifts. It's given me more energy, and more energy definitely in the second pregnancy. So I want to show you here that if you take each protandem or each combination by itself, you're going to have some incredible benefits to your genes, but you're going to have even more amazing benefits with all three of them together. So that's called the synergistic effect, or you can see here these little bars on the bottom. The first very short one shows that protandem reduces your oxidative stress, or it triggers that antioxidant gene by 40%. But then when you take all three together, it increases to 78%. So I always tell people that your genes, if you want to give them the most benefit, all these three work together. And there was a study done, I don't have it this slide here, and for the sake of time, I'm just going to explain it. But there was a study done, not by our company, not by a doctor in LifeVantage, but it was a study done by simple scientists showing that all these three pathways interact in our body anyway. So it makes sense that when we take them all three together, that they're going to potentiate the effect, they're going to increase, and they're going to be working more effectively in our body and for our genes. Lastly, I just want to talk about two other things here. We have a very simple lineup of products. All of these work at your cellular level to improve and hang on a second. All right, hopefully you can all still hear me. My son's going through a 2-year-old stage and my husband is here now. But anyway, all of these products work at our cellular level to improve our cellular health. Obviously, the one over here for the dogs can be used for dogs, and it reduces oxidative stress. Dogs and other animals have even more oxidative stress than humans sometimes, and there's been some incredible results with dogs. We already talked about the 3 different cellular pathways, or the 3 theories of aging. With my gut, I use this probiotic, which is a time release, and Cheryl has an amazing story to share about how that's been helpful to her. That's one of her favorites as well. If you're probiotic, if you've heard of probiotics, if they have a liquid, if they're in a capsule and you can shake them, if they're a powder, then they're not going to be protected by your gut or by your acid. They're not going to be protected from your acid in your gut. Only less than 10% is going to get to your gut. But if you have a probiotic like this that is protected by a time release capsule, this one allows 60 to 90% to get to your gut, and it greatly improved my gut health. So if you're looking for specific fitness health, we have athletes and we have other people that are really looking to lose weight, and they can use some of these products here in the middle, which work naturally at your cellular level to increase your metabolism, help you build muscle. And I missed the omega, but that's a very clean omega, which if anyone has questions about that, I use that as well. Axio uses the same oxidative stress reducing formula, the same NRF2 pathway, but it works quicker and it works in our brains to increase our neurotransmitters, mood, and motivation. I don't want to talk too much longer because it can be a whole lot of information to think about, but mainly we do have the skin and hair over here. Those work at your cellular level same NRF2 pathway, reducing oxidative stress, and all natural formula. But what I want to say is this. If this is the first time you've heard about this, I want you to think about it as a preventative method, getting to the cellular level versus taking a shot, a pill, something to get rid of your pain, getting down to the cellular level, reducing that inflammation, helping your genes, helping your cellular functions to work as they were meant to work. That's the basic, simple explanation here. And here's a picture of a dog that was helped with his inflammation. Here's a picture of our friend's gut. If that bothers you, I'm sorry, but that's amazing results. And the anti-aging system works 4 layers deep in our skin, reducing inflammation, helping genetic health, helping to tighten tone, etc. So I want to introduce Shara. She's just going to share for a few minutes her story on her gut health journey. She is a mom of 3, lives in Michigan. One second. Sorry, I'm a little short of breath. I ran up the stairs. She has been a caregiver for a while from her home, taking care of her grandma with Alzheimer's. She enjoys being in nature, going out on walks, camping, and being with her family. She has a journey that I'm going to let her share about her Crohn's. So thank you for sharing.
So as Rachel said, I think you guys hear me. My name is Shara Emma. I have 3 children. This is my 3rd, Elizabeth. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, but before that, I struggled with digestion eating through all my high school years. My senior year, I skipped most lunches and ate soup for supper and stopped eating bread altogether because I was finding that I was having a really hard time digesting foods. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at age 24 in the summer of 2012. While working night shift and eating very poorly, I was put on FMLA because I struggled going to work with constant flare-ups. When I went to the doctor, they told me that I had a 75% constriction from scar tissue in my ileum intestines. I wasn't able to eat or drink in January 2013 because I was 6 months pregnant with my first child. And I wasn't sure if I would lose the baby or if I would make it myself. I used to pass out frequently after the baby was born because of stool and bowel impaction due to my constriction. I decided to stop prednisone and went to natural remedies. I took charcoal and clay for detoxing, golden seal, and Oregon grape for anti-inflammatory. After I decided to go all natural and not keep taking the medications prescribed, the doctor told me, I'll see you when you have an obstruction, a bowel obstruction. Then I was introduced to Protandim NRF2 in February of 2015. Within a day of taking it, I instantly felt better. But I had already started to detox, so my body was already ready to receive Protandim. I noticed once I had started that I had less inflammation, I had less gut pain, I no longer passed out from the constriction. And as the new products came out, because when I first joined, only NRF2 was able, or was, you were able to take it. It was the only one that came out at the time. As the new products came out, I started taking them all and noticed improvement after improvement with each new product. Eventually, I was able to eat foods that I could not handle eating before. And now I have no more constriction in my bowels. So that is, in a nutshell. I'm terrible with numbers and remembering for some reason. So I decided to write it down just so I don't forget things.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. That was awesome.
But it's been
you're still not on any prescription meds, although some you know, like vitamin D and stuff like that. But you don't have to have the chronic steroids or sometimes other typical Crohn's medications that can have side effects as well.
No, I do not have anything anymore.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to pause or end the recording, but if anyone has any questions right after I end this, we'll be happy to answer your questions.